Yo, what is up, my friends? My name is Tracy, and today I thought I would follow the crowd and give you my second impressions on the Final Stand DLC, which is available again on the CTE server. I said second because I did play it the first time it came around, but like an idiot, I didn't record enough to make a video on it, so I'm here again doing this one. So I really do find it awesome that DICE is allowing us to play these maps, give our feedback, and I think it has helped a lot in their patch notes since the alpha release of these maps. They mention in the patch notes that they fixed occlusion, clipping, texture, destruction, believability, small scale destruction, levolution, and gameplay issues. And they actually don't go into detail with what they fixed because they say there's too many of them to actually detail. But I do feel in their current state right now, they're releasable, and they probably will just be released how they are now, minus some, very, very tiny details, unless they find something extremely game-breaking, which I doubt. Alright, first and foremost, there are 4 maps. Operation Whiteout, which is an expansive snowy map, which is mainly focused on vehicle combat. Giants of Corellia, which is a large, hilly forest map, which also seems to focus on vehicle gameplay. Notice a trend here. Hangar 21, another decent-sized map, which is based on a hill, which is kind of cool, I guess, with a large hangar looking down on the rest of the points. And finally, there's Hammerhead, which is another large snowy map with a submarine base in the middle, sort of similar to Wavebreaker, but I think it's a little smaller, the base in the middle. Okay, now that's enough of me explaining shit you probably already know. Now let me start with some things that I really do like about this map pack. I'm really digging the whole futuristic theme the DLC is taking, but sadly, I don't believe there's any new weapons being added besides battle pickups, but I really don't think anybody is complaining about the lack of weapons in Battlefield 4, although I really want my crossbow back. They also added some really cool battle pickups, such as the XD1, which is like a flying chain gun, as scary as that sounds. In real life, it even sounds scarier because it's called the Multiple Kill Vehicle, also known as the MKV, which is actually just meant to stop ballistic missiles. I don't think it was actually ever used. The Rorsch Railgun has also been added as a battle pickup. God, say that 10 times fast. It has actually seen a nerf since the prior maps. This time it doesn't one-shot helicopters anymore. It still does damage to them, but it doesn't just one-shot them. And the bullet actually has a little travel time, whereas before it was sort of like Counter-Strike with no travel time at all. We also did receive the TDD attachment, which is rail-mounted on carbines and DMRs, which replaces like your laser sight. It spots enemies as you aim down sight, but it doesn't spot from the hip. Now, the DS3 is an interesting gadget, not to be confused with the TDD. This is actually something else. This is a gadget for all classes. I think it's actually the first gadget that's been included for all classes, and basically, to put it simply, if you've played Counter-Strike, you'll probably know about the decoy grenades. This gadget is thrown on the ground and pops up on your enemy's minimap like somebody is shooting. I imagine it'll be actually pretty awesome for playing stealthy and luring your enemies towards it. As with most DLCs, DICE added new ways of transportation. Now, the most interesting and awesome ones are the launch pods on Hangar 21 to get from point to point. Believe me when I say this, I tried to get a kill with one, but I had no luck. There's also these cool hover tanks that are like normal tanks, but they hover. You can't actually rotate the turret, you have to actually turn, but they turn really quickly. And I think that's actually cool. I really love how they're going sort of far out there with the design of this DLC. And also there's snowmobiles, but I don't really give a fuck. I'm just going to put C4 on them anyway. I also really noticed how downright beautiful these maps look, especially Giants of Corellia, which is, again, the foresty map. It really does remind me of a modded copy of Skyrim, and all of them feature a somewhat detailed inner area, which is usually built into a hill or something, which is basically for infantry-based combat, unless you can fly like a helicopter in there. Think of the sub-base in Wavebreaker. It's similar to that to a greater or lesser extent depending on which map you're playing. And believe me when I say this, if you love vehicle-centric gameplay, you'll love these maps. Personally, I find the vehicle gameplay to be a little too excessive, especially considering how hilly all of these maps are, meaning a lot of ground vehicles will have to be taking the roads, which will be littered with mines. Every map except Operation Whiteout has jets, and every single map has helicopters, which, aside from the covered areas, leaves infantry out in the open for either ground vehicles or air vehicles. The first time these maps rolled around on CTE, DICE gave us some other game modes to test out as well. Capture the Flag on Hangar 21 really stuck out to me because, for one, I haven't played a good map of Capture the Flag in Battlefield 4. It's nothing like the, what was that DLC called? The Endgame DLC in Battlefield 3. The setting of the map was on the floor of the large hangar, and was actually really fun. They included some ATVs so you can get around and sort of get the flag quick, but it's actually really fun. And I also played Rush on Hammerhead, which I also really enjoyed, although there was an Amtrak in there for the attackers, I believe, and it was a little bit OP. Okay, as I stated, these maps are definitely not my favorite in Battlefield, and especially not my favorite in Battlefield 4. I feel that these maps don't cater towards infantry in any meaningful way. Yes, you can argue that those expansive indoor areas are infantry-centric because they are, but of course you can fly a helicopter in there. The issue that I have is there's too much verticality in those areas. While I love vertical gameplay like Flood Zone and Pearl Market, this is not a good type of verticality in my opinion. I'll give Hangar 21 as the example. The area inside is absolutely massive, with multiple levels, catwalks, and staircases. The areas all look down onto the floor, which does have one point from all sides. I found myself not knowing where the hell to look when I was getting shot at, since there's so many damn areas for players to be. And to a lesser extent, I'll give the example Giants of Corellia. The Levolution of the map has the roof of the inside thingy, I don't know what to call them, fall down, allowing players to camp on the hill which the complex is built into, looking down onto 3 points. And to add to this, I mentioned how all these maps are very hilly. Yes, they're all very hilly, meaning the hills have to look down somewhere, and especially on Hangar 21, which seems to be the worst at this verticality thing. The large hangar is at the very top of the hill, with all the other points looking down, which I understand why DICE added those launch pods so you can get to the top point without having to run up there. While I was finishing up recording gameplay for this video, I realized a huge issue surrounding verticality with this game. Your minimap does not let you know what level a player is on. I was playing on Hammerhead, and in the subbase there are a few points, I think there are 2, and if you watch this gameplay right here, if you look at the minimap, it shows an enemy soldier shooting. That is not one of those decoy things, it's an enemy soldier shooting. So I ran into the point expecting to find an enemy, but then I realized that right above the point is the hill, and that hilltop is absolutely huge and infantry can run across it, and you have absolutely no way of telling until you actually go and check. I find this to be an absolutely huge issue, especially with a DLC like this with so much verticality. An extremely simple fix for this issue would to be have opacity of enemy players and friendly players, so if they're on the same level as you, their marker is completely filled in, or if they're a few levels above you, they're more transparent, the little marker on the minimap. That's just such a simple fix for a huge issue. Another thing I noticed is that there seems to be no perfect gun to use on these maps since the environment varies so much between each point. I feel that the DMRs are actually the best well-rounded to use because they're good at long and medium range and actually okay at short range if you get a headshot. And some may argue that this is actually great and promotes different gameplay styles, but I really do feel it's a little too excessive. Now, one thing I complain about a lot in my Battlefield 4 criticisms is Levolution, and it's not because it's a bad concept, it's actually a great concept, but that's the problem, is that they made it seem like it was such a gameplay changing thing and it was going to be revolutionary, but I feel like they just toss these Levolutions in there and they don't really think about them because none of them in this map pack are very good, like at all. They all feel really forced in my opinion. Like Giants of Corellia which has the roof collapsing on one of the points, which actually kind of ruins the point. And on Hangar 21, the giant rocket booster, which is player activated, creates a large plume of smoke, which looks and sounds cool, and it doesn't really change the gameplay too much, and it's just there. And my understanding is the only Levolution on Hammerhead is having the ice that passes through the subbase break, allowing tanks to not be able to go through, which isn't very gameplay changing. Okay, now that's enough of me being a pessimist for now. My personal favorite map has to be Operation Whiteout because it almost reminds me of a snowy version of Silk Road, which is awesome. And it's kind of funny because it seems like that is people's least favorite map out of the 4. And you might have noticed that I did not mention me hating the Levolution of this map because I actually really like it. If you watched my Things I Like in Battlefield 4 over Battlefield 3 or whatever it's called video, I mentioned how much I hate the Sandstorm of Gulf of Oman because it's so on rails and it rolls in every time. Well, Operation Whiteout features a very similar snowstorm, but how is it different? It actually appears to clear up and return instead of just rolling in halfway through the match and ending with it there. It seems to be dynamic. I feel it creates a variable that just adds to the atmosphere of the map, opposed to completely changing it. Video's almost over, I swear. Some little things that I noticed. My FPS is actually great on these maps. They seem very well optimized. The SC-42, a stationary turret which shoots bursts of pellets, is no longer bugged, even if the bug was actually pretty hilarious. And on CTE, the HUD in jets is greatly improved, allowing for greater contrast between the sky and the HUD, so you can actually see it. And I do believe I found a bug, hopefully, on Hammerhead. It is actually snowing inside the base, and you can't really see anything in some areas because of it, so I hope that gets fixed. Overall, don't get me wrong, I might have sounded like I hated these maps, but I do like them. But as a whole, I feel like they try and cater towards too many playstyles without having success in any of them. But yeah, that's been it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the Final Stand maps, and if you think they're ready for release, if you like them or not, let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching, peace out, stay safe, and if you like this video, like it, and if you really liked it, you can subscribe. See you in the next one.